Today I sit down with Raphael Kontos. He is the founder and managing director of the Hellenic Tech Investor Club here in Athens, Greece. He's changing the game for young entrepreneurs in the tech industry seeking investment from successful business people. Enjoy this episode of Invigorate Your Business with George Stroumboulis, starting now. My name is George Stroumboulis, and I'm extremely passionate about traveling the world, meeting new people, and learning about new businesses. Join me as I sit down with other entrepreneurs to learn about their journeys. This episode of Invigorate Your Business starts now. So we are here today. We're in beautiful Athens. Very excited to be here. We're in the suburb of Kolonaki, right, which I absolutely love. It's close to everything. And we're sitting here with Raphael Kontos, right?
My name is Raphael Kontos. I'm the founder and the director of the Hellenic Tech Investor Club, or THETI Club for short. THETI Club is the first tech angel group in Greece, focusing exclusively on early stage ventures, tech ventures. And we have started the last 6-7 months, and everything is going very well. We're going to have a discussion with my friend George.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining. So how did we actually connect? Through LinkedIn, through social, right? We ended up connecting.
Exactly. Until a few hours ago, we didn't know each other, but now we're good friends. We have the same passion for businesses and entrepreneurship. We both have the same vision to improve our country, to improve Greece.
Absolutely.
Greece, and work together to make fantastic things.
Yeah. So we're going to dive into a bunch of things. So first things first, you're 27 years old and you started basically Greece's first tech investment club.
Exactly.
Right. So you're not even in your 30s, and you've, in the last year, 2 years, have brought together like so many wealthy, high profile, highly motivated entrepreneurial people in Greece for the Greek market.
Yeah, it's very hard.
It's very hard. So just that alone, to have the balls to want to do that, be able to do that, and starting it, regardless of where it is or where it's going, like, Sikaditiria, congrats.
Thank you very much.
Big deal, very impressive.
And it wasn't easy because I'm not from Athens, so I wasn't connected. So this kind of, to put an investment club, you need to have the connections.
Yeah.
At the same time, you have tenacity and you are bold, you can do miracles.
Absolutely. So let's start into this. A few years ago, you launched this club, right? Rewind. Where are you from in Greece?
Actually, I launched it a few months ago, 9 months ago. I am from Mykonos. I grew up in the well-known island of Mykonos.
So born and raised in Mykonos.
The party island, yes.
Yeah.
I was, everybody refers to Mykonos as a party island, but sometimes you are there in the winter, like it's very calm and like it's a village. So you don't feel like when you're a kid that you're in Mykonos, you don't understand that.
Sure.
But slowly you can understand a few things and see. The thing with Mykonos is that although it's a very local place, let's say it's a very small place, at the same time, we receive 2 million visitors. So you are going to get exposed to different people and ideas. It's not just a European destination, it's an international destination. We have Americans, we have Australians, we have from South Africa, from all over the world.
A lot of Middle Eastern countries now coming there as well.
A lot.
So there's only 8,000 or so full-time residents in Mykonos, right? All year round. So you pretty much know everyone. You know of everyone's family. My uncle, so my dad's cousin, actually left from Evia to Mykonos 40 plus years ago. So I have Stroumboulis' name there too, and we have some cousins. And it's another world, right? So when you go there to party, let's talk about some of the crazy stuff. Growing up there, like what type of business were you involved with, or your family living?
Actually, the funny part with Mykonos is that whatever you do, either you want it or you don't want it, you are going to work in tourism.
Right.
Directly or indirectly. Let me say, like, my father is a doctor, he's a dentist.
Okay,
it's a well-known dentist in Mykonos, but at the same time, 70% of his customers are tourists. So he serves the tourism industry.
Yeah, as a dentist. Yeah.
Like, whatever you do, you're going to serve the tourism industry.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'm so curious.
18 years old. The next day I went to work. The next day I became 18 years old, and my first job was in a gas station, like helping gas station. The majority of the customers are tourists. This is the norm for almost any body. Like indirectly, you work in tourism.
So let me ask you, being a dentist in Mykonos for the tourist, what's the most common problem? Like bottle smashed teeth, like what? Like what?
People falling down during the pool,
Smashing something,
smashing the jaw, and you have to run and fix everything.
Well, let me ask you. So we always, when we travel there versus other islands, it's like I don't know if it's a stigma, but a lot of the locals think the tourists are crazy there, right? Because you guys get a lot of people are like Mykonos. It's on the same level as Ibiza or Las Vegas, so people go there, majority of them, just to get shit-faced, drunk, cause a ruckus. How do the locals respond to that?
That is true, exactly. The locals think sometimes that some of the tourists they are crazy. So what we try to do in Mykonos is like focusing on the most high-end, more, let's say, not so party guys, let's say, like more quality, because you have sometimes your worst customers are the ones who make all the noise and the problems, they create all the problems. It's not easy. At the same time, in Mykonos, okay, the locals, I do think that the success of Mykonos is that because the locals are very friendly, very open. At the same time, you have now a lot of new entrepreneurs coming from outside Mykonos,
right,
from the rest of Greece or from abroad.
Or outside.
And because Mykonos has a lot of money, it attracts not the best people, because it's like night, in combination with the money, attracts a lot of people that don't really serve the customer as they have to do, as they used to be like in Mykonos.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I just read yesterday, Greece is on fire. I landed here the end of May, right? The airport was packed. Hotels are booked. The hotel we're staying in here was 3 times the regular price, and we're just entering June. It's insane. But I actually read that Mykonos, their bookings this year is lower than expected.
It's one of the worst seasons, like summers in history.
Right.
Okay, the island is at a turning point where they have overbuilt. Some of them are not illegal. They have skipped the law not to build.
Yep.
It's a tough place. Like you have to fight, even if you are from the government. It's not easy to enforce the law because there are a lot of like high interest for many strong entrepreneurs, right, to continue building. It's not easy. The resources of the island are depleted, like the interforce erosions, like underwater, the water. They are pumping all the water from the ground, and now the sea is coming from the ground. So in the near future, they say that in the next 2 years, the majority of the island, the wheels, will not have clean water, but they will have with salt water from the sea. So there are a lot of press in the island. It's very tiny. Like you have 10,000, less than 10,000 locals, and you have 2 million people coming there. For me, I'm not like an expert, but at the same time, you have to put a limit to the tourists and the building that you are doing. You can't open 5-10 hotels every year.
No, because the roads aren't getting bigger. It's the same roads. It's the same. Like it's a very tough island to navigate. But here's the thing that from the outside, right? Growing up, once I started hitting my teens, Mykonos every summer. Last time I was there was probably 4 years ago for a bachelor party. It starts getting, especially someone who knows Greece, loves Greece, comes here. Like you feel, for me, you start feeling cheated when you go there. Like sunbeds, on the main island, maybe it's 20 euros to rent. There it goes 150 depending on where you're. A lot of the prices have gotten so crazy that, it's great for the locals. You guys have just capitalized on it.
I don't think that, I really partly disagree. I do believe that Mykonos is a premium place. It should be a premium place. It's like a jewel, like a diamond.
Yep.
Okay, it's a very small place, a very boutique place. It should be this way. But at the same time, you can't have business owners that you have to have the same service. It's not like if they charge 150, they have to have assistant, you have to hand staff to run the business. So they have very low salaries to the staff. Like you can't expect the staff to serve like your customers like this. There are a lot of people that don't really they want to take just quick money. Like this is what is happening.
Yes.
Because you can go there, you have come, arrange the corner and charge people high prices. It's not this way. It should not be this way.
It should not be. Because when you're charging that 150 for a sunbed, the person that's working there all month is maybe making €1,000, right? Working 30 days.
Only 7 days a week.
Yep.
12 hours at least. Very bad situation. Like they live with 10, 20 people together, and 1,000 in Greece is nothing. Some people abroad think that okay, they get €1,000, but they can live. No, you can't.
You can't.
With 1,000, you have half of that or 60% of that goes to rent. Like you can't live with that. No. It's not well paid. It's not. It's very bad play. And for this reason, now they don't. Now the crisis is behind. So the economy is developing. Now they cannot find workers.
Of course,
they can find, but still they have their very low salaries.
Yeah, I'll tell you how quickly they'll find. Instead of €1,000 a month, go to 2,000. You'll see how quickly people will free up. Like that. That's why coming here, you go to Navarino, you go to Mykonos. This like $1,000 a night for a hotel room has become very normal here, right? And you're going and you're being treated, and you're seeing people. And we're saying 1,000. We're rounding up. A lot of these workers are making €700 a month, working 30 days. It's crazy. That needs to change, right? Because the prices are already increasing, but you're not increasing the labor. There's definitely a big issue coming.
The labor, it's very low, very, very low, and has stagnated for years. And at the same time, they have very little inflation. Like
sure.
So this is pretty much
absolutely. So love Mykonos. I'm glad we chatted about that. Growing up there obviously shaped you. You're seeing as a kid, it's basically you're growing up in a village off season, but then you're exposed to the world, cosmopolitan people from around the world, working in service industry, learning how to talk, how to sell, how to negotiate, right? From the gas station, from the stores. So obviously that molded you and shaped you. So when did you leave the island, right? And go on to your educational path? Like what does that look like?
Okay, very interesting. The thing is that I think Mykonoans in general, they are very open. They have a good intention, a good heart. This is very important. This is what attracted the tourists, I think. Same time, they're very smart, I think. At least they are very successful, not only in Mykonos, but in Athens. For some people that don't know that Mykonos, one of the reasons that developed so much is that the Mykonians came in Athens and they were very involved in the building of Athens.
Okay.
And almost everybody, my grandfather, everybody.
As laborers, like coming here?
They started as laborers because the Mykonos has a lot of rocks, so they didn't know how to build.
Yep.
So they started as laborers, and then they grew to business owners, and they built buildings there, all the houses, and they made a lot of money, and they came back in Greece and they invested it. So it's entrepreneurial. The spirit is very entrepreneurial.
Yeah, of course.
The Mykonian.
Yeah, and you have to, because it's a rocky island. How much can you grow there?
It's a rocky island. They have nothing to do. But if you are an entrepreneur, you're going to survive. You're going to create Mykonos.
There's going to be a beach bar somewhere that they're going to do.
Yes. My family, the things with my family was that after my grandfather, the next generation, all they went to the universities and they followed a traditional path like in academic.
Okay.
Lawyers, doctors, engineers. So it was my mother as well is a teacher. So we grew up like you have to study, you have to find a job this way.
Yep. Traditional path, right?
Actually, it was the vice versa. It was hard to break from this mentality. You have to find a job where in Greece, don't know, but there are many people. When I finished in 2017 around my university, like there was, if you go out there, you have to work for months for free. I have friends work. Like you go to shipping company, like the only industry in Greece, except tourism, it's like shipping company.
Shipping.
Like how to find a job. Not only want to have connections, but I was asking a few guys who had a job with connections and they had to work 6 months to 1.5 years for free.
For free, yeah.
Do you understand? For free.
Yeah.
Like you are working for 1 year for free, nothing. They don't know if they keep you.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's not even in the records.
So
you can't work for free. Okay, they don't even have you as like you can't go even to another company and say I was working there. Like
there's no proof
for free.
Yeah,
zero. Like you pay to work.
Listen, are those considered internships?
You can't, normally an internship is 2 months, like.
Right. A year is exploitation.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm all for, if you have a little nest egg or if you have some support from the parents, go out, work for free, show your time for a period.
And this is I do agree with that. Totally agree. Go free, do the extra mile or work for less money, but you can't really expect a graduate from university, from the shipping management, to work just for free for months like this. Like, it's nothing to give him at least something, like
just cover some basic expenses.
Something like
100%. So you studied shipping. You did some internships. You worked there. How did you start? Because then you ended up in the UK.
Yeah, long story. Actually, I didn't. I went in parallel from university. I created my first business. Mm-hmm. I'm going to share the story how we started THETI Club.
Yep.
Okay. I created my first business, and I was during the 2016 in Greece. I was like in the summer, August. Everybody went from my family back to Mykonos. I was here alone. A very hot summer, without like air conditioning.
Sure.
We were moving houses. The thing was that I had to raise money because I didn't have from my family, and this was very bad because due to the crisis, the family didn't have, let's say, 10,000 to support a new venture, or 20,000. Before the crisis, it was very easy, but now it's not. So it's a cycle. Don't have the money to start a business, then you don't have economy to support, and grow. It's a cycle. But at the same time, I sat down and I was like, let's raise money from investors. And in 2016, in the tech ecosystem, there was no active VC, venture capital. No, not even one. There was nothing. No private investors, almost nothing. I created a list with a couple of names that didn't really invest in technology. So this was my only hope.
So really quick there, you wanted money to start your own business and realized, I can't even find it. Most families in my situation can't even support it now before they could. So this is what spurred, hey, this is a bigger issue in Greece. What can we do to help other businesses that want to?
Almost like this. At this moment, I was very disappointed. I was like, what I'm going to do in my future? Anyway, I would tried very hard. Everybody was laughing that we were going to find investors. We were successful to finding investors. Like, it was a guy who had made 20 investments, all of them in the US. He didn't invest. He didn't want to invest in Greek. He had one of the very big companies. He went bankrupt like this in a few months because it's a funny story, but he was a retailer. He couldn't receive stock. And the competition, there was international companies, they could receive stock because if you are a big company, you couldn't import.
Of course.
Like a solid business with millions, well known in Greece, went out of business in a few days or weeks. It's
insane.
It's business, but at the same time, it's insane how this country is going to work if nobody, like, okay, it was a crash.
Absolutely.
Now it's better. The thing are better, we have, don't disappoint everybody, like now it's much better.
No, but this is
a lot of investors, we have VCs, we have funding, we have the ecosystem grows like crazy, everything is positive, the country is growing. I believe that will be a miracle in the next few years. The economy in Greece.
Absolutely.
But still a lot of work to do. Okay. And this was the situation. A few years passed, I left this company. I wanted to finish my military service in Cyprus, and then I wanted to start my new business, a second business. And I want to go to abroad because still Greece had a few opportunities. In 2019, I went abroad. I started a second business. It was in tourism, in tech. It was like a startup. It didn't. A few months later, the coronavirus came, so we didn't really launch the product, or we didn't really continue building it because it didn't make sense to work in a market that was like disappeared. But at the same time, I was in the UK and I had the opposite problem. I had a list, I created a list. It was so long and so long that I couldn't handle a list.
Where were you even going to find a list? In the UK?
No, you can make your research.
Who's in what business?
In what business, what angels are out there, what VCs are there.
Greek-based? Like you were searching for Greeks or anyone?
No, anyone.
Okay.
And you have a lot of options. And in the UK, like in a few weeks when we started out fundraising, we we were discussing with the right guys about investment who had already investors want to lead the round. Like it was all that like this.
Yep.
Like it was a paradise.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, the opposite with Greece. So there, I saw how the ecosystem works and how the angel investors are united and very well, everything is well structured, organized. And I want to create something like this in Greece.
Yeah. So while you're in the UK, you always had the idea, hey, let me learn from this market because they're one of the best in the world, and I'm going to bring it back to Greece. You already had that in your mind.
Like this. This is not only at the personal level, like to bring something in Greece, but at the same time, I'm an entrepreneur.
Yep.
Like the thing is that the best entrepreneurs in the startup, the tech entrepreneurs actually, are guys who were before that employees in a big startup company, in a big successful startup company. So it's like it's the same side. You don't have like in Greece big companies. The companies how you are going to have startups.
Yep.
Because the founders of the startups normally come from these big companies. And you have to compete globally. It's not like I'm competing with the next guy who's in Thessaloniki or Kalamata. This is not like, we're not more a country, like you are global. And you investors want to see global businesses that have products that can scale globally. Like you can't compete only in Greece.
Your ROI just in Greece is not.
It's not. The market is very small.
Yep.
Okay. And the question is like, how are you going to... It's very hard. Like now we are starting to have the first big businesses, the real, like have already 2 unicorns in Greece. We have 4 or 5 unicorns. It's unbelievable. I do feel that we are in the stage where other European countries were 10 or 15 years ago. It depends on which country you are looking. But we are in this path to go like this.
Can I pause you? Because I think it's important for the listeners from around the world to, okay, Greece is not known as a tech hub, but what you're saying is, hey, where we are today here in Greece, 15 years ago, it was in the UK or Western countries or so on. So you mentioned, hey, there's already a couple unicorns here. Greece is not known as a tech place. What type of businesses are these that are based here? Because I think people would love to know. Like what kind of businesses do we have here in the tech space?
In the tech space,
yeah,
we have I think it's very diverse, like everywhere. It's very diverse. We don't have just tourism or shipping because these are strong industries, but we have very different companies. So the first unicorn is a fintech company.
Okay.
The second is like certifications in education. So it's very different space.
So education side, okay.
And we have other companies like BLUERBROWN, the real estate, PropTech, like very different sectors.
Yep.
Like that's the way it should be. Okay. That's the way it should be. And we have a lot of the things that we have a very strong diaspora in Greek diaspora, like George. And
strong
in
network.
a way we have to use to go together and create interesting things. A lot of Greeks come from abroad and they are building successful companies. The most successful companies, startups out there, the majority of the times the founder had some experience abroad.
Yeah.
But it's not, sorry, I'm going to say something, I'm very hard. It's not fair, like, because the average Greek doesn't have the exposure.
So
there are some guys, okay, they have still from wealthy families, they have studied in the UK or the US, they have worked for technology companies, they're coming back, they are building a company. But still, if the average person in Greece, they don't have the mentality and the exposure. And this is the problem, because you see a lot of entrepreneurs are one step before really be able to really build something big. Because the difference is very small, the difference.
The positive on this though is it's always had a strong diaspora. The local market now is so exposed and embedded with other Greeks, other international people coming here, setting up businesses, that slowly it's going to change for the better, where people will start having that mentality and say, hey, if I know I can have an angel investor or a group invest in my business, I'm motivated to learn. How can I think differently? How can I think more Western business? Not saying thinking locally is bad. So someone, if I'm in the diaspora right now and I'm a Greek, why should money come here? Like
exactly. I'm going to do 2 scenarios. Okay. If you don't have experience, don't have anything, it's very hard to start a business in Greece. Actually, it's harder. Not very hard, it's harder. Now there are a lot of options. You still can do it. A lot of options.
I can speak from experience. It's harder.
It's better to be in the UK. But if you have the knowledge, some capital, etc., it's much easier. Like it's a paradise if you have it. Like if you're in Greece, you can launch a business with much less money than in the North Europe or in the US, like a third of the money. You can find easier to find sometimes employees or easier to retain them. Like the average employee in Greece stays at least 2 times or 3 times. It depends on where you look. Compared with other employees in other countries. Less competition if you're investors, less competition of capital. Like there are not so much capital to compete really. Like in Greece, even if you are an okay investor, an average investor, still the majority of the companies will receive money from you. In abroad, sometimes they will not receive money, they want the best. It's very easy to get connected, everybody knows everyone, it's very easy to do due diligence, everybody knows each other, like this.
Okay. So, but why? So if I'm sitting on site and I have a few extra dollars as an investor and I want to join the club or a club here and invest my money, like, is the return great? Are we seeing a good pool of talent? Is the education system supporting great future entrepreneurs? Like, where's that coming from? Because you've already funded a few projects, which is awesome, and congratulations. What can investors expect, right, to come into something like this?
Like only technology you are talking about?
Yeah, like for you specifically. So for the THETI Club, it's tech-based, right?
Tech-based.
And you've already funded a few projects.
So in reality, we have participated in 4 companies.
Okay.
We are participating, all of them quite recent.
Amazing. Can you walk us through? I know you can't share certain deals because of privacy.
Let me say that our vision was at the very, very beginning, but our vision is to finance at least 10 to 15 companies per year, which for a small country like Greece, like in a decade, 100, 150 companies, it's a very huge number. Like it's going to create an impact that only few out there have created for the ecosystem.
Right. How much does a company that you're seeing right now, because you're getting several applications from entrepreneurs, minimum investment for your company is 50,000 euros to fund them, goes up to $1 million. Are you optimistic with what you're seeing from an application standpoint? Entrepreneurs presenting new ideas?
We are optimistic, and the only thing is that we can understand where we invest, like how we can treat this asset class or this asset class. Like it's early stage ventures. Like there are ventures that sometimes they don't really have a clear path. Like even if you are in the US, like ChatGPT, they didn't know how to make any money, like the model, and they said to the investor that they are going to ask the AI to say to them after they build it how they're going to make money. So this is the mentality you need in order to create the next Google or the next Microsoft. You need the mentality, like we have to venture. We're not doing traditional business. We venture. Venture means high risk. Yep. Crazy stuff. Okay.
So if I'm putting in money, that there's a high risk that they may go on.
It's like it should be like this way. I should say that not only for the viewers, because the viewers are from abroad, but I say that mainly for the Greeks, because in the South of Europe, in the Balkans, there is not so much risk appetite because they didn't have seen the success. If you're in the US, you know a lot of successes. If you are in the UK, you have a lot of successes. Now we have the first paradigms in Greece, the first exams in Greece. Like we have companies that have succeeded, and this is the thing that changes the mentality.
Sure.
If you can't see it, you can't dream it the majority of the times.
Yeah.
Okay. Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
As they say. And the thing is that we have to understand everybody that we can build here big things in Greece. This is the thing.
Absolutely. So late 20s, you're going up and you're finding investors. There's not a big pool of C-level executives in Greece, right? Just based on the size. So you're going out, you're finding entrepreneurs, you're finding people that are extremely successful. You've built like this club and you're 50% there of where you want to be, right? Just from a team standpoint. How do you go out there and find the right partners to join this club? Like, what do you look at?
And okay, before I answer your question, I want to share a story different. It's not about your question, because to wrap up everything we said, I'm going to say a story.
Okay.
That ramped up everything. Okay, we had a guy, he was from a business, he had a family business. He didn't have his father, but he had to run his business from 18 years old. Again, he started at the same time. The business goes like this, and then the economic crisis came in Greece, and the business lost 90% of the revenue. Like, they were almost out of business. They adapted and they tried to save the business, but at the same time, he had to find something to do.
Sure.
There was a crazy story how a very wealthy ship owner went to his shop and he gave his CV, and somehow he ends up getting a job in a maritime in the shipping company. Of course, he got the job after 7 interviews, and of course, that job was unpaid. Okay, so he worked for many months unpaid. He didn't have to pay his rent. His girlfriend was upset with him, and he started learning, and he started a startup in Greece.
Okay.
In the maritime sector, called Harbor Lab. Harbor Lab. For me, it's going to be one of the many big success that Greece is going to have. Now they are raising very huge amounts of money, but they don't have a real product. And this is the good thing with Greece, that the mentality is not like the American entrepreneurs. They are first profit oriented, because in America they only look for hyper growth. Here, the majority of them look for profitability, early profitability. We have companies at the very beginning, they say they are profitable. Yeah. So profitable. So the mentality is different. They have they're very efficient with the capital, and this company now is going to be one of, for me, the biggest success already. They are looking for, even for the stock exchange in the US, like they are going to be. And this is like a success story that we want in Greece, and we want to inspire
and piggyback
everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's incredible. So then back to
your question.
Yeah. So just talking about, what do you look for when you're building this group now in Greece in this movement, and you're one of the first to do it in the country? How do you make up, because you're very selective, you have to be, how do you make up who's joining that team and representing your brand?
First of all, it was very hard to start, because everybody was saying to me that who is going to join in Greece, who is going to pay to register in a club, what are you doing, what is that? You understand, like, the mentality. They didn't know what I was talking about. They were thinking that I'm an alien.
Yeah. Which is typical, like, idea, beat it down.
Like, the idea was like, first of all, I'm going to say how we started. Like, the idea was, I wasn't going to connect, because I'm very young. Okay, I was 26 when I started. I had the idea to start it. And I was well abroad. I was in Cyprus for the military service. I was in UK for the lots of the business. So I have lost, like, from 23 years of age onwards, I was always abroad. And I wasn't from a family to be connected. So I didn't know anybody. Not a guy, nobody. To speak, like, how we are going to recruit high net worth individuals and forward thinkers, because you need combination of forward thinkers and people who have really the money to start up, to help the startups. So the idea was to reach out to everybody.
What form? Just LinkedIn was the best platform?
Sometimes the traditional way is the best way. I started writing letters the traditional way.
No way. What are you, a 90-year-old person, the old soul? That's amazing. Yeah.
Because it's not, if you are a very special path, if you're not, there's a lot of noise out there. It's something different.
Absolutely.
Okay, and I was very fortunate because there was a lot of big entrepreneurs who supported the idea. And they joined the club. Okay, and they tried very hard to support me without knowing me. And it was actually the first step before I reached the entrepreneurs was to put in place a screening committee with senior guys, because I didn't have the credibility to do something like this. And thanks God that there were people out there, they trusted me and they helped me without any...
So they volunteered to bring that insight.
They are this insight. And all that thing, everything. At the same time, recruit investors, do the deal flow, everything like this. And it was crazy. The idea was like to speak in the first year of business, to speak at least with 200 potential investors, which is very hard. And we are almost close to 200 people. It's very big number.
Very big number.
Very big.
Yeah.
To speak with 200 people. Like it's not a full-time job. At the same time, I do it myself.
Which was your sales hat on, right? Trying to pitch them, trying to show them why. Yeah.
And the thing is that when we announced it, we had a lot of Greeks from abroad reaching out to us, and we registered some of them. So what we did was very quickly we opened the market globally for Greeks to join from diaspora, because what we realized was that it was much easier to explain to a Greek who is from Silicon Valley or from New York or from London what we are doing than a Greek who is in Athens. It was much easier. They could follow it, understand it, and they joined us. So we opened very quickly.
Yeah. And why was it easy though? Because Greeks or any immigrant that leaves the country is already leaving a situation that's not ideal here, right? So they have to hustle, they have to fight.
They have that, but sometimes they have seen it in abroad, they have seen what we are doing abroad, so they know what we're talking about.
From Greece abroad, they understood easier when you were giving your sales pitch, they understood it easier, right?
They understood very well what we're doing, what is the vision, and they were in the road. They don't want to join immediately. The Greeks in Greece, who have the majority of the time, we have to explain what we're doing, and they were comparing us with other things out there that didn't make sense. But, we're very specialized what we're doing. It's like we do something that's best practice, and that is out there like other clubs in the US, in UK.
Yeah.
This is what we do.
Amazing. We met yesterday for the first time, hearing it, see it online. It's amazing. So someone by invitation, right, a committee and review joins the club. They're obligated a certain amount of money to invest, after a certain amount of time.
Actually, because we just started months ago, we don't have, it's not obligatory to invest any amount of money. So if you want to invest, you invest. So far, we're very happy because what we did was to bring the right people.
Yes.
People who we really had an interest to invest in startups, in technology. That was the good part. Okay, in the near future, we grow, we will put a minimum requirement per year.
Yes.
Because we are an investment club, we are not a social club.
And it's a small annual fee that means nothing from that's not a barrier of entry for me or someone looking to get in, which is great, right? So it's like, okay, you're in this club, let's collaborate, let's build it. So we've talked about the investment side. Before you say
the next question, the idea was we have now almost 50 investors. Okay, and
50.
50, and we are looking to grow the club 75 and close it. It's going to be private. Why that? Because in Greece, it's a small country, the ecosystem is small, so we want to bring people that really know what they are doing, they really know how to build technology companies, tech ventures, and know how to scale them. So we want to create a mastermind group with the top entrepreneurs out there. And this is what we're trying to do. Not easy, because the quality should be very high, but at the same time, we're in this projection.
Yeah, and you're quickly going to find out, not now, maybe not next year, but in a few years, you're 75 or whatever that magic number is going to be. There's going to be individuals in there where it's like, okay, some need to be fleshed out, some need to be, right? It's part of that process. Right now, you're going to do that. So the investor side, typically you'll fund projects 50,000 euros to $1 million, which is a big deal, right? Even $50,000 for a company to get here, where, it's less cost, it's a big deal. You can kickstart so many ventures. Let's talk about the actual other side of delivering proposals into the system that you have, right? If I'm a young entrepreneur and I have a software idea, what should they be doing to even get in a position to present to you and your group?
The process is very simple. We did it very founders friendly. It's not easy for us, but even if they should apply after to the website, this is the best way to reach out. We see everything. It doesn't matter if it's from introduction or it's cold approach. We see everything because we are entrepreneurs. We understand the hash. The cold approach for us is the same thing. Like in Greece, there is the mentality even from VC that they don't really invest in founders. They don't have common connection, which is for me is very bad. So they can just apply to the application, and we are going to reach them very quickly. We try to be very founder friendly and give even feedback, because feedback that we are going to give the founder, he may not be ready to raise money, but he will be in the future. It will give the right feedback. It's very hard. It's very high cost for us to spend time and write feedback, and it's not like you have to analyze everything very in a clear way in order to give a real good feedback to someone. But this is what pays off, because founders will come in again to us, and the founder that will have turned down, they will bring other founders. So this, I think, is a good sign.
Never lose that energy, especially for you who's running that, because the same pitch that you gave, people turned you down, people accepted it, but the feedback you got to build it. Like, to create this hub, whether you're funding future entrepreneurs or other groups are, you gotta give that feedback to the local entrepreneurs.
Exactly.
Right? Like, it's crucial. Versus, no, I'm not funding it. It doesn't make sense. Like, just keep doing that. That's amazing. If you're a parent, right, and you have a son or a daughter right now who's 15, 16, 17 years old, getting ready to write the Panellinion, which in Greece, that's basically the equivalent of the US SATs. It's like the big test that dictates what college you're going to go to, where you're going to study. Knowing that there is a future here for entrepreneurs getting funded, what advice would you give to that parent?
Let's say that what for me it was very hard, because although I'm very young, for me I lost a lot of years, because I had to develop everything myself, to discover everything. I didn't have the guidance. I didn't have a mentor like this. I would say that first of all, you have it's a cliche, but it's the most important thing. If you do the right things, everything will come to your place. Like, everything will come, the rest will be right. Like, if you do the right things, you have to do the right things. Like, you have to work hard, to be super positive about what we are building, and to do it. Very disciplined, and do it.
Yeah.
Be smart, work smart. Okay, if you do the right things, everything will come. This is the first thing. The second thing is that I didn't do it. It was very bad for myself. I was very ambitious always. But try to do your best every moment. It's very, very, it's cliche, but it's very important. Do your best, and start small, like this.
Yeah.
And you grow. I think that in my life, in Greece or abroad, the majority of the people I have met, they are open-minded. I think. If you are young, it's an advantage. Everybody wants to hear a young person.
Absolutely.
If you do something and you are young, it's have twice the everybody can trust you very, very easily, because they are young. Normally they don't. It's much easier to trust you. Sometimes it's the opposite. Some people say that, I'm young, they will not trust me. No, they will trust you. They will not trust you if you don't know what you are talking about, but they will trust you at least as a person. And if you do know what you are talking about, then everything will combine and will create miracles.
Yeah. And having a willingness to learn, or to say, hey, I'm not an expert at this. I want to learn from you. The right people, they appreciate vulnerability, right? And just eagerness to learn. The other thing here, Greece and Greeks, their DNA, even here in Greece, they have that entrepreneur mentality.
I'm going to say that, like, in Greece, the misconception is that we're not entrepreneurial. We are one of the most entrepreneurial nations in history. Yeah. We are the first to cross the Indian Ocean. Like, crazy stuff. Okay, trade will follow the globe. Until recently, when we went to the European Union, look, it's not a problem with the European Union. We didn't handle it the right way. Yeah. So we had politicians who got money, free money, not free money, like loans, and it just gave it for free. And of course, this creates a corruption, creates a system that you survive, you gain just trying to exploit, and like this. But we destroyed entrepreneurship in Greece. This was a problem. We destroyed entrepreneurship. And we are one of the most entrepreneurial nations, and we should get back to this.
Absolutely. The nation's built on small businesses here, right? And there's a lot of that. Greeks have that attitude of like, let's open it, we'll do it. Like, they'll take that risk. So people here, and it is a misconception, like, oh no, the Greeks that left Greece had to start businesses and so on. Well, it's the same here. It's very entrepreneurial. So it is a good hotbed. It's just, the universities, the parents need to understand you got to put your kids on the right path to let them see everything from a business standpoint.
Exactly. It's a cliche. Mainly abroad, it's like it's a norm. English is not normal. It's entrepreneurship that we have to teach it, really teach it. And it's very hard because the teachers are not entrepreneurs. Like the entrepreneurs have to go back and teach it.
Yes.
It's very bad. If entrepreneurs go to the universities or the elementary school or high school, they have to have the freedom to teach it, not to teach what the school wants to teach, theory that doesn't apply to reality. Like teach the hard stuff, like teach how you go down on the roads, how you network, like a few soft skills that you need really to survive. And think outside the box, like the school and most small things that they have already a path for you.
Yes.
Like who has a path for you? Like
there's no path.
Now there is what going to find a job, but still what? What do I do? All about everyone's studying. Yes, a few years ago you had, if you go 50 years ago, if you had high school, you were competitive. Now, my mother, if you went to university, it was competitive. Not even come to university, but university. Now you have, a few years ago, you wanted a postgraduate. Now you need master. Like, come on, guys, how much? You have to lead. Another thing that it's in Greece, it's in Greece a lot. This is very bad, but it's abroad as well. It's like we are not giving to young people the way to lead. We expect only guys after 30 years old. It's mainly in Greece after 40 years. The history shows the opposite. Like, if you are young, you are very capable to lead. You can learn by leading. You can learn by doing in the bus, not by doing in a desk and only studying. You can't focus only studying. You have to somehow connect the education system and everything, life. Because I say life, it's not normal to be in a place like, or they be in an apartment, play video games, then go to school. Like, you have to expose yourself to reality, to go out there and do stuff and communicate. And I say that pretty much.
This is great. And as a business owner and a CEO, I always remind myself too that people who are interviewing for position that, maybe it's a senior manager of this, or maybe it's this, and they haven't had a previous position. A lot of employers will sit there and say, well, I'm not going to hire you because you don't have this experience. Well, we were all in that position at some point to get to that next level.
Exactly.
And if you have the core skill set, for me, it's just the vibe starts, right? Then it's, the willingness to want to learn. And you said it earlier, it's so important. Everything you do, just do your best. Don't get sloppy from the communication, from the responses, from showing up, if you always just do your best and come prepared, and you have that attitude, it just will send you apart, and you want to put those people on the right path, right? Even here in Greece, where we've hired a lot of individuals, some we filtered out, but there's this amazing attitude. They're very passionate. Whatever they're doing, their work is, even if, it's something that seems mundane, passion. And when you see that passion, you're like, oh my God, it motivates me. And it's just a cycle that you feed off. You got to give people an opportunity.
Exactly. And I will go back to history that, like Alexander the Great was like from 80 years old age was in the bath. Scipion was 24 years of age, was leading the legions to Carthage. Like, you understand, like in the history, we had always young people leading. If you go to 1950s, guys 24, 23 were managers. Today, it's a joke. 23 years of age, you haven't even got your first job normally. So in Greece, for the 30. Okay, you haven't your first job. Okay, but this can't continue. Like, we have to open. I was in the maritime industry for a few years. Like, if your hair is not gray, you're not going to get any position. Like, this is a joke.
It's insane.
It's insane.
Yeah,
it's insane. Okay, if you are exceptional and you have connections, okay, maybe, but it's insane.
Yeah. And because in the States, you'll see, if you're great, you will accelerate, right? Like, you'll see VPs in their mid-20s in certain industries, just they're excelling, right? And that's how it should be. Yeah. So to wrap up the THETI Club, how can someone who's interested get in contact? So website's the best way? Go to your
The
website?
best way, if he's either an investor or a startup, come to the website, he can register, we're going to get back to him. Or he can reach out to LinkedIn. My name is Raphael Kontos.
And we'll put everything up. Yeah. Diversity on the group, right? Let's talk about, I know Greeks, nationals, males, females, like talk about diversity. I know we touched upon that before as well.
For me, it's the opposite. Diversity is important, not to just to have calls 50-50. For me, it's a joke.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have the right for everyone to come and teach. It doesn't matter the gender, but at the same time, if they don't come, you can do something. Like I see for good or bad, I will not judge that, but there's only 10% of the founders are females that are reaching out to us. So we can do for us. We're very open to female founders, but still we can't do something for that. Look, if they don't want to come,
absolutely.
It's like I disagree on that. Like, it's very important to be open, but at the same time, it's not bad if less women than men decide to follow entrepreneurship. Like, it's not bad. Like,
yeah, I look, it's a fact, right? Like I'm similar school of thought of you can't force just to say check, and it's not just male, female, it's culture, it's religion, it's in the States, it's if you're handicapped or not. And again, everyone should have an equal opportunity. If that position, they can have the capacity.
Equal opportunity is not that you create a quota. Like, it's not you are going to hire 100 people and you are going to, actually, let's say we want to hire 10 people. It's not like we are going to hire 5 men and 5 women. This is not, because if for the position there are 100 male applicants and there are 20 or 30 women, now 30 women compete for 5 positions and 100 compete men for 5 positions. So this is not fair.
Yeah.
Or the vice versa. Or for the men, if it's 30 men and 100 women, the vice versa. It's not about the gender. We are all humans. Okay.
It's not the best for that.
Who's the best for the job?
Yeah.
Who's the best
for
the job? And if we continue creating like a mentality that some minority people everywhere are really discriminated, sometimes this creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, it creates discrimination. It not creates victimization. Actually, it creates victimization. I have seen, like, I was again in the maritime industry. Some events has happened twice. The same story twice. And we were talking about the shipping industry. Shipping industry is male dominated. Okay, for me it's very obviously why, because the old days, the majority of the guys in the office were from the ex-marines, were traveling around and then went to the office. Mm-hmm. And there was some woman in the audience that they were asking, like, we're talking about the women in shipping industry, and they were starting crying how to enter. If you try to feel so much victimization and you cry, and don't say to me that they had feel discrimination because they hadn't even applied for it. Like, you can't go this way. If you feel this way, you are going. It's like we said before, if you think that you are young and you will go out there and nobody will listen to you, nobody is going to listen to you.
Go study, get the credentials, put in the time, and if that point the same person is still being picked because of it, then obviously there's an issue. But you got to put yourself in that position first, which Jordan Peterson has a great talk on this. In Greece in general, you see men and women, entering the 40s that are, we'll get married, I'll start kids in my 40s. You start seeing that, and it's cultural, and it's not just here. It's like a lot of the Mediterranean countries. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's very weird because their accounts are very family oriented. Actually, they used to be, still they are, and it changed for a while. It changed a little bit. The thing is that it combined with the economy. The economy is very bad. It's very hard to start business, to start a family. At the same time, it's like we have expectation to live very comfortably.
Sure.
Not to really. This is a very problem that the West has. that don't really create real relationships. It's a very complicated problem. I don't think that they have all the time or the scope of this meeting, of this interview. There are some fallacies that as well that we create, we are starting creating, like there's infinite amount of time that you are young. This comes down to the responsibility we were saying before. If you are 20, 25 and you are leading, you are very responsible, you are very conscious. If you are not, and if everybody's treating you like a kid, and you are the guy who will take pocket money and will go out there and have some drinks, this is not responsibility, it's not an ideal parent. The thing that takes a lot of time for the new generation to mature. Yeah. This is the problem. And comes together to everything we talk about the economy, about how the society treats young people. Okay. And in English, this is very problem. Like, you are 40s, you are very young. No, you are not very young.
You're not very young.
In your 40s, you have to be on the peak of your life in everything.
And assuming that your life expectancy will be the average and you live till your 70s or 80s, right? That wasn't the case centuries ago, right? So we're talking about leaders at 25. Maybe they were living till 50. So you had to accelerate things, right? Otherwise, it was that. I'm glad to see it, man. You're young. You're starting this. You're going to start your relationship and marriage. And, that's all coming. It's positive. Like having kids, pushing that out there. We have to. Like the more people I talk to, I don't want kids. I don't want this. I don't want that. It's like, what's the future going to look like?
If you don't want kids, it's so abnormal that there will be no humanity. It's a fake choice. Like it's the human being has been developed to live in a more natural way. We're starting living in an unnatural way. Actually, I'm going to say like a joke. Like sex is the only thing that we do the last 100,000 years. Not the only, a real thing that we do that is natural.
Yeah, and consistent.
And consistent. Like. And food, not even food, because food, the natural thing is like to work for your food. If you wake up and you have already your plate full, it's not natural. Okay, so even food is not. Okay, and the food is processed. Almost everything goes unnatural. For this reason, it's very weird because humans, we create solutions, and yes, it's very good at the very beginning, and then as you grow and you create more unnatural solutions, then your nature responds in a negative way. Like you drink from plastic, you have a danger to develop cancer.
Cancer, absolutely.
Whatever. Okay, this is the concept. The concept is that now we're at the turning point, but we have to go back to the more natural life.
The basics, yeah.
Okay.
And it's very hard in this world we're in now.
Exactly.
With everything, yes.
Exactly. And we do it fast, we have a lot of stress, we don't feel it because we're in the West, but third world countries are pushing the planet because they have a lot of people and don't have they can't survive. Like their priority is to survive, not to save the planet. And for good and bad.
Absolutely.
We have to understand them.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you're trying to feed yourself, you're not thinking about the planet, right?
Yourself, yeah. It's a luxury tool.
So the message for our listeners is if you can and you physically can and your body can, have babies. Do it sooner, but
do it sooner. Actually, the other things that as a society, this is part of again the West to cultivate an obsession with body pleasure. Like you are going to be much more. We are Greeks, okay, so we have, I don't know about the things, but we have a history about philosophy and about the religion and everything. The things that, the meaning is that, I would say something that people from Israel say, before you die, you have to write a book, make a son, and plant a tree. Three simple things, because in theory, if you write a good book, he's going to outlive you. If you do a son, he's going to outlive you. If you plant a tree, it's going to outlive you. So even if you are not here, something positive will be in the humanity. I think that you have to take pleasure from bigger things. Now we are having a discussion. We are trying to be businesses. We are trying to do a few things about our life and the fight. This is pleasure. Yeah, maybe if you are from LA, right?
Yeah. Originally Toronto, I live there now.
Okay, if you are there, you can very easily take some LSD and be very happy. But look, tell me a lot of going to be very happy. With
You are, or maybe you are. I had people on the show that take it and love it, right?
Yeah. Okay, you may be, but in reality, you're not going to be in your deathbed and you say like, when I was 30 years of age, I was taking LSD, I was happy. Like, no, I was 30 years of age, I was hustling, I was building my family, I was building my business, I was building my relation with the world outside, I was building my knowledge, I became something, not somebody like, don't be obsessed, like, be better from other guys. Okay. It's still that and enjoy life every day.
Absolutely. You touched upon that. You're at one of the most exciting points in your life right now. It's the building phase.
Exactly.
You don't know where it's going. You know where you want it to go. You're learning where you think it needs to go. It was the most exciting. Like when I build stuff, it's that hustle. Like there's the end goal, and I'm still building on my ventures and so on. But that grind and this and that and falling on your face and learning from that's the pleasure right there, and just learning from it. So I wish you continued success. We'll share everything with the listeners. Let's raise awareness outside of here as well, and just keep rocking, man.
Thank you, George, for this discussion. Love it.
Appreciate it, man. Awesome.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Invigorate Your Business with George Stroumboulis. Please hit the subscribe and like buttons and follow me on all the main podcast streaming channels. Also, please share your comments when you can. I appreciate your help in expanding this network to a worldwide audience. Until next time, stay invigorated.